Welcome to my channel. Today's story is one of the most disturbing and chilling tales of captivity and manipulation ever documented. It begins in 1977 with a young woman named Colleen Stan who accepted a ride while hitchhiking through California. What followed was a 7-year nightmare that would later earn her the haunting nickname, the Girl in the Box. Colleen was just 20 years old, full of youthful curiosity and trusting of the world around her. She was on her way from Eugene, Oregon, to a friend's birthday party in Northern California when she was picked up by a seemingly kind couple, Cameron and Janice Hooker, and their baby. The presence of a child made the situation feel safer, but beneath that domestic facade was a man with twisted fantasies and a woman who had learned to enable them. Just a few miles into the trip, Colleen's instincts began to sound alarm bells. But it was too late. Cameron Hooker pulled off the highway into a secluded area, held a knife to her throat, and forced her into what he called the head box, a customized wooden structure that completely encased her head and muffled all sound. It was the first terrifying step in what would become years of unimaginable abuse. Once at their home in Red Bluff, California, Cameron locked Colleen in a coffin-sized wooden box beneath their bed, where she would spend up to 23 hours a day. Over the years, she was starved, raped, beaten, and psychologically manipulated to believe that a secret, all-powerful organization called the Company was watching her and would kill her and her family if she tried to escape. This wasn't just physical captivity, it was mental imprisonment. Cameron Hooker carefully constructed a world where he was not only her kidnapper, but her god. He convinced her to sign a slavery contract. He renamed her Kay. He even took her on occasional outings, where she never dared to run, not because of chains, but because of the chains he had placed on her mind. But one day something began to change. Janice Hooker, who had been a silent accomplice for years, began to feel guilt. Cameron had originally promised Janice that Colleen would only be used for sex and submission so that Janice could live a normal married life. But the abuse had gone too far, and Janice could no longer bear the burden of silence. In 1984, Janice told Colleen that the Company wasn't real, that she could go, that she was free. Colleen walked out of that house. She didn't run, she didn't scream. She calmly called her father, and within days, Cameron Hooker was arrested. The world was stunned. At the trial, Janice testified against her husband in exchange for immunity. Cameron was sentenced to 104 years in prison. Colleen Stan's story is a horrifying reminder of how manipulation, fear, and control can be more binding than any rope or chain. But it is also a story of resilience, of surviving the unthinkable, of walking out of hell with your head held high. So what can we learn from this? Detailed safety tips for the Colleen Stan case video. Before we close today's story, let's take a moment to talk about real safety, the kind of awareness that can save a life. First, trust your instincts, even when everything looks normal. Colleen accepted a ride because the couple had a baby, which made them seem harmless. Predators often use this tactic to lower your guard. If something feels even slightly wrong, trust that feeling. It's better to be impolite than unsafe. Second, be cautious about accepting rides from strangers. Hitchhiking was far more common in the 1970s, but today, we know better. Always arrange transportation through trusted methods. If you must accept a ride, share your live location with someone you trust and stay in contact throughout the trip. Third, understand that fear can be invisible. Colleen was allowed out in public several times, but didn't run because she was psychologically trapped. Abusers often isolate their victims emotionally before they isolate them physically. Learn to recognize manipulation tactics, threats, guilt tripping, promises of protection. These are weapons, not kindness. Fourth, have a pre-planned code word system with family or friends. One short text or phone call using a secret code word can alert someone that you're in trouble without tipping off the person you're with. Set up a system in advance, just like you set up emergency contacts. Fifth, pay attention to small inconsistencies in people's behavior. Predators can be charming until they're not. Watch for sudden anger, inappropriate personal questions, pushing your boundaries, or controlling where you go and who you talk to. These are red flags. Don't excuse them. Sixth, if you ever escape captivity, don't second-guess yourself. Just act. Walk into the nearest public place, call 911, and say clearly, "I need help. I was kidnapped." Don't worry about causing a scene. You have the right to demand safety, loudly if needed. Seventh, if you're witnessing something that feels wrong, step in, safely. Whether you see someone being isolated at a party, someone looking scared while with someone else, or someone sending out subtle distress signals, trust your instincts. Sometimes all it takes is offering help, making eye contact, or calling authorities. And finally, never blame yourself if you get caught in a dangerous situation. Manipulators are experts at making victims feel ashamed or responsible. Remember, abuse, captivity, and manipulation are 100% the fault of the abuser, never the victim. Never ignore your instincts, even when everything looks normal on the outside. Predators often hide behind masks of normalcy. And if you're ever in a controlling relationship, know this: you're not alone, and there is a way out. There are people, services, and shelters who will believe you and help you escape. And to everyone watching, talk to your loved ones about safety, especially when traveling alone. Share Colleen's story, not to spread fear, but to spread awareness. Stay aware. Stay connected. Stay free. And if you found today's story important, please consider subscribing. Together, by spreading knowledge, we make the world a little safer.